I've said this before, the WNBA has an A'ja Wilson problem, and I believe that. I think the fact that A'ja Wilson is the best player in the world, and the fact that she is actively trying to ruin Caitlin Clark.
Imagine being the WNBA spokesperson. You have the championships, the shoe deal, and the devoted fans. Then a rookie enters the scene, and all of a sudden you're complaining about not receiving enough credit and berating podcasters for making fun of your logo. A'ja Wilson has established an amazing legacy, winning many MVP awards, winning multiple championships in a row, and being regarded as one of the best. But her recent comments against Caitlin Clark in front of Indiana Fever fans have caused controversy and raised concerns about how they would affect her career going forward.
If A'ja Wilson, I'm telling you this right now, if A'ja Wilson did not say a word during the season, A'ja Wilson would be one of the most popular basketball players because she's a hell of a player.
It all began when Wilson made remarks regarding Clark's popularity. She didn't merely allude to it. Rather, she stated outright that Wilson said Clark's popularity is solely due to her color. Can you believe that she didn't stop there? Wilson continued by saying that there was nothing she could do to become the WNBA's most popular player.
Wilson, a two-time league champion and now three-time WNBA MVP, told the Associated Press she thought Clark's race was a huge contributor to her popularity. It doesn't matter what we all do as Black women, we're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is.
Now, you may be wondering whether this is simply typical rivalry rhetoric, but Wilson's motivations are beginning to be questioned by fans and the media. Here's where it gets very interesting. Wilson is saying that race is the main factor, but other WNBA players are noticing their popularity. Is this really about competitiveness? Or is there something else influencing these remarks? Look at Nafisa Kohler and Ork Ogunbi, too, skyrocket. They're winning over fans one by one, and the last time I looked, they weren't white. So what's the real deal?
Explain to me why this season, I'm not going to lie, from start to finish of the season, the people that grew the most in popularity were Nafisa Collier and Arike Ogunbowale. Explain to me that. Maybe it's because they're just hoopers and people don't hate them.
We're all trying to figure out what's causing Wilson to make these statements. Jealousy, fear of losing her top spot, or is there more to the story that we're not seeing? Remember the 2023 MVP race, when Breanna Stewart won the trophy instead of Wilson. You would think Wilson would be leading the charge, right? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Not only Wilson, but her supporters came out in full force. Can you believe that Sheryl Swoopes, a WNBA legend, was caught liking anti-Stewart tweets? Well, that's how far this drama goes.
Not even almost in a Skip Bayless way. And Sheryl Swoopes, the reality of the situation is people are like, oh, she dislikes Caitlin Clark, she turned on Caitlin Clark. I stand by the fact that I think that this is almost if someone's a threat to A'ja Wilson, they're a problem.
Did you see that, AA? Wilson never misses a beat. When Sabrina Ionescu was featured on the NBA 2K cover, what should have been a WNBA celebration devolved into a heated argument between Wilson and her fans. They were quick to claim that Wilson deserved the attention, and when Ionescu received her own signature shoe, the outcry was so intense that you would think a significant event had turned into a crime.
So Sabrina Ionescu got on, it's zoomed a bit too much, she got on the NBA 2K24 cover before A'ja Wilson got on the 2K cover. And there was uproar. There was absolute carnage.
Now, you may be wondering Wilson seems to have the media at her fingertips. When Time magazine excluded her from a discussion about elite athletes, her fans went crazy and accused Time of not even taking into account Wilson's abilities. However, the truth is that Time's Athlete of the Year award is determined by a wide range of criteria, not just abilities.
Every single award A'ja Wilson has not won, people complain about. And this Time magazine one was not even a basketball award.
Let's take a moment to discuss the Olympics. During the Games, when Wilson wasn't exactly dominating the court, someone boldly suggested that Stewart should be named MVP. You know what happened next? Wilson's fans attacked him like it was their job. It's gotten to the point where it feels more like a cult following than fan support.
Even if it wasn't Caitlin Clark, I think you could make an argument Caitlin Clark did not deserve to win Time Athlete of the Year. But you better believe A'ja Wilson wasn't in the top 50. She was not in the top 50 athletes of the year. I'm sorry. There's no question about that. She was not in the top 50 athletes this year. So I'm just saying it, like, it's crazy.
AIA Wilson caused such a commotion that she hopped on Twitter and quickly made things messier by claiming that Clark only got the deal because she's white. Can you imagine that a top player would insinuate a rookie received preferential treatment based only on race? Wilson didn't say it directly, but it was evident from her tweets that she was upset about Clark's fame and linked it to race, saying that Clark's contract was because she was white and attracting sponsors and viewers. However, this is the part that has everyone baffled.
It's bullying is allowed if it's on behalf of A'ja Wilson. Like, the amount of stuff, like Becky Hammond's even there, like, joking about how bad Stewie is if it's on behalf of A'ja for winning MVP when they won the title. The amount of time Sabrina Ionescu got attacked by fans, and it was fine when it's on behalf of A'ja.
AIA Wilson is aware of her upcoming signature shoe, but as you are aware, I will be competing in the Victim Olympics right now, which will only make people despise Caitlin Clark even more.
AA.
Yes, Wilson already has a signature pair of shoes. The player who is complaining about not getting recognition is one of the few WNBA players with a signature sneaker line. So why is she so upset about Clark's deal? Fan reactions are all over the place. Some are supporting Wilson and praising her for being honest, while others accuse her of bringing down a rising star rather than uplifting the league. The sponsors are currently silent, but you know they are keeping an eye on every moment of this drama unfolding, and the biggest shock is Nike made the audacious decision to discontinue Caitlin Clark's signature shoe line completely in order to avoid upsetting A.A. Wilson or other prominent black athletes.
A'ja Wilson, I'm telling you this right now, if A'ja Wilson did not say a word during the season, A'ja Wilson would be one of the most popular basketball players because she's a hell of a player. Like, she is a hell of a player, and I mean that.
Why, therefore, did Wilson respond in this manner? Some people believe she is frightened of losing her, but is it just jealousy, or is there anything more going on? Others question whether she's attempting to create controversy to remain relevant, but one thing is certain, Wilson isn't benefiting from her Twitter tirade. If you thought the hoopla around the Nike contract was crazy, wait till you hear about the logo that generated 1,000 tweets.
AA.
Wilson is about to give us all a masterclass on how to deal with criticism, but the true stunner is that it goes beyond a logo. This is when Wilson's reputation began to deteriorate, and you won't believe where it takes her next.
Next thing, as soon as Caitlin Clark's Nike deal gets announced, and that she's getting a signature shoe, A'ja Wilson goes on Twitter and goes on an entire, 4 or 5 tweet rant about how she'll never get the recognition that she deserves, and basically that Caitlin Clark is only getting this because of her race again.
So, what took place? We've all seen some dubious sports logos before, but this criticism really got to Wilson. A podcast decided to make fun of Wilson's design, and they didn't hold back, calling it the stupidest logo ever and suggesting it looked like a bottle opener.
While, in the background, A'ja Wilson knows she has a shoe. She already knows, I've got my signature shoe coming, but I'm gonna go and enter the Victim Olympics right here and make people hate Caitlin Clark even more.
You would think that a celebrity like Wilson would just brush it off, but she went on a full-fledged Twitter rampage. Instead of merely responding, she tagged the podcasters and sent her army of followers after them. It was like seeing a real-time nuclear meltdown. Wilson was taking this criticism of the logo personally, and she wasn't having any of it.
He hasn't produced one ad or commercial featuring Clark since she turned pro, and despite a signature shoe being part of Nike's agreement with Clark, it may not be released until 2026, according to sports business reporter Ethan Strauss. He reports Nike wants to prioritize A'ja Wilson, and it fears the optics of giving a rookie a signature shoe before an already established star who just won league MVP for the 3rd time.
It's a difficult decision. On the one hand, Wilson should be able to defend their brand, but on the other, this reaction seemed excessive for a simple logo critique. Fans and the media are now doubting Wilson's capacity to handle criticism, but wait, it gets even stranger. Remember how Wilson was acting defensive about her logo? Well, that was only the warm-up. When she went to play a game in Caitlin Clark's hometown, things took a bizarre turn, and Wilson even admitted that she felt intimidated by the fans there.
About a logo, I'm a Miami Heat fan. I can laugh at the dumb Heat culture kid. You've got to be able to just laugh at bullshit. You've got to be. Because if you're not, then there's issues with that. You've got to be able to.
Wilson went so far as to say that she felt scared playing in Indiana. Now, let's be honest for a moment. Indiana is known for its love of basketball, not for being a scary place to play. So, what's really going on here is that Wilson is trying to make Clark's fan base look bad, or is she actually that shaken by the rookie popularity? And get this, the majority of those fans were young girls. Can you believe it?
They made fun, they laughed about how bad this logo was. I'm sorry, this is a bottle opener. It is a bottle opener. I might mean something, but this is a bottle opener.
Some believe that AA had a different reason for trying to change the location of the All-Star game by portraying Indiana as unsafe. They claim that she may have wanted to have the game moved. The WNBA is beginning to worry, and rightfully so, when one of their biggest stars picks fights over logos and feels intimidated by young fans. The league is trying to expand, but Wilson's behavior isn't exactly helping. In fact, it might be worse than good. This season, Clark broke over 64 records and achieved amazing feats for a rookie. Her success garners headlines, awards, and big deals, but every time she performs, the question of what about AA Wilson lingers. It seems like the storyline is determined to pit these two stars against one another, overshadowing Clark's achievements.
But you know, when Twitter trolls attack other people, according to her, it's Caitlin Clark's fault.
The problem is that even if AOD and Clark's successes speak for themselves, she uses Twitter to forward the plot and heighten the drama, maintaining the tension rather than allowing it to gradually subside.
She comes out in an interview and talks about how scared she felt playing in Indiana.
Caitlin Clark has been the subject of a lot of controversy, but all it would take to put a stop to it would be for AA Wilson to tweet a few lines stating that she has nothing against Clark. That would be all that is needed to clear the air and bring some peace.
By the way, I think all this we're scared to play in Indiana was an attempt to get the All-Star game moved from Indiana, which was never going to happen. Because as soon as people started as soon as that conspiracy theory started coming, she shut up quick.
Instead, she fueled the flames and pulled Clark into even more drama. Remember how being referred to as a possible unanimous MVP was a compliment? What occurred next left even her strongest admirers perplexed. Are we seeing the demise of a WNBA star? Here's the situation. Basketball icon turned analyst Rebecca Lobo said in passing that AA might have unanimous MVP support if she continued to play at her level. It seems innocent, but AJ's supporters went crazy.
She's every single person in WNBA media, a lot of people aren't even congratulating Caitlin Clark. Like, you're seeing why is it not AJ Wilson? Why is it not AJ Wilson?
Social media was flooded with people condemning Lobo of insulting their hero, but here's the twist. She remained mute and didn't intervene to calm things down, almost as if she relished seeing the mayhem play out.
Why is it not AJ Wilson? Like, that is a bad narrative to have in the media. But she has the media wrapped around her finger because she was Queen Bee for so long. She was at the top of the pile.
AA. What women's basketball needs right now is great role models to keep the momentum going. The WNBA is growing, but it needs players who inspire rather than alienate followers, stars who encourage rather than discourage their teammates and competitors, and Wilson's social media spiral is no longer just about her. It is harming the entire WNBA. The league's greatest star is constantly stirring up trouble rather than praising the game. AA was once that type of player, but nowadays she is more the focus of controversy than success.
With AJ Wilson is her whole goal this season has been to tear down Caitlin Clark. And from day one, the rhetoric that is being spewed in the WNBA media could have been stopped by AJ Wilson. Because whatever AJ Wilson says, these WNBA media are scared out of their minds of saying anything for negative towards AJ Wilson.
What will happen to AA next? It won't be easy. Her reputation has suffered greatly. Fans are unhappy, sponsors are worried, and the league is probably not happy either. AA needs to think back on her actions and decide what kind of legacy she wants to leave. Will she be remembered on social media as a great player who got lost? Will she bounce back and become the much-needed positive force in the WNBA?
She said it might be unanimous. She got attacked by, the internet trolls that apparently are only Caitlin Clark fans. The internet trolls that are A'ja Wilson fans, I'm probably gonna get a death threat on Twitter after this. Almost all of my death threats have been from South Carolina and A'ja Wilson and Aces fans. That's the reality of the situation.